Bangladesh could consider joining the Mecca Pact, a mutual defense agreement that has been signed this month between Saudi Arabia, Turkey and Pakistan. Now, this move could complicate its foreign relations, particularly with neighbouring India. A source in the Bangladesh Foreign Ministry has spoken to Reuters and that they have informed them that Saudi Arabia had invited Dhaka to join the pact, but did not say when the invitation was made. The source sought anonymity as he was not authorized to speak to the media. Now, the three Sunni Muslim majority countries signed the agreement modeled on NATO's collective defense principle in the Saudi holy city of Mecca this month. They pledged that an armed attack on one member would be treated as an attack on all, amid heightened tensions in the regional configuration that has brought Iranian missile fire across the Middle East. Analysts, however, say that joining a military alliance would test Bangladesh's long-standing foreign policy of avoiding rival geopolitical camps to help it attract investment, expand exports, and maintain economic ties with competing powers. The invitation comes at a delicate moment in Bangladesh's relations with India. Under Rahman's 6-month-old government, despite efforts by both to ensure cordial ties, things have been quite tense. Analysts say that New Delhi was unlikely to welcome Bangladesh's membership of a security alliance that includes Pakistan, although Dhaka would ultimately need to weigh the broader economic and strategic consequences of such a move. Now, the perception of the alignment would create risks for Bangladesh's export-driven economy, reliant on stable commercial as well as diplomatic ties with a wide range of partners. This includes many of them in the Gulf region as well as in the neighborhood. The invitation comes quite at a delicate moment, and it's become quite an important issue for Bangladesh, especially when it weighs its ties as well as its geopolitical necessities as well. We're now joined in by Salahuddin Shoaib Chaudhry, editor Blitz Bangladesh. We are also joined by Major General Sudhakarji, retired defense and geopolitical expert. Welcome to the show, gentlemen. Let me ask the first question to Salahuddin Shoaib Chaudhry, who's the editor of Blitz in Bangladesh. Salahuddin, do you think that Bangladesh has an enemy for which it requires to be part of this pact?
BNP government,
You can hear me?
which is continuing anti-India rhetoric, anti-India agenda. So most possibly for them, they want to join this Mecca Pact to somehow show to the Bangladeshi people that they are moving towards something that it is anti-India, etc. But as you know, and as my esteemed co-panelist is also aware, that just recently, this week, President Trump has submitted a proposal to the US Congress for signing a handing of nuclear technology to Saudi Arabia, which will be approved very soon. And there is a condition that Saudi Arabia must recognize Israel. So I know, and many of us know, that Pakistan will follow that footstep, and it will also normalize relations with Israel. So this is actually the Mecca Pact. It is nothing, but it is a trap to somehow get countries like Bangladesh and other Muslim nations to recognize Israel. And Trump will definitely exert all possible pressures on Bangladesh in getting Israel recognized by November, the midterm elections. So what Tariq Rahman is thinking, or what his so-called policymakers are thinking, that joining this pact will make Bangladesh very strong, whatever, it is not going to actually benefit Bangladesh. Pakistan will make a lot of money from Saudi Arabia by pulling them or promising them of protection. Pakistan did not protect Saudi Arabia despite the defense pact it had when Iran attacked Saudi Arabia. So this Mecca Pact is a road for Bangladesh to recognize Israel. And Tariq Rahman is hiding this fact because his allies in Bangladesh, the radical Islamist forces, including Jamaat Islami and Hifazat-e-Islam, if they know that what is the ultimate reason behind this joining Mecca Pact, there will be a mass revolt in this country. So I believe, in my personal opinion, Tariq Rahman has committed a political and diplomatic suicide by not visiting India. That was the first thing. Now, second thing, now he is committing the biggest blunder and actually a final suicide by joining this Mecca Pact, because Mecca Pact is nothing. It is for road for Bangladesh of joining, recognizing the state of Israel.
Right. Let us in fact get Major General Sudhakarji into the conversation as well. Major General, we have seen the Soviet Warsaw Pacts, we have seen the NATO Pact, which is still surviving. You have the CENTO Pact, the Russians have got to have their protections. The Chinese are not into a pact, but probably they might also look for something. And then you have this geopolitical grouping called the Mecca Pact that's come into place. Now, how fast is our geopolitical scenario changing with these pacts? Because for India, if Bangladesh enters the Mecca Pact, and if they do enter, we have on our west and east, we are flanked by these Mecca Pact countries. And, it is also going to be quite strange as to, for me, as I was trying to understand, like, if Tariq Rahman is going for it, who is the enemy that they're trying to get protection from?
Yeah, Varghese, good evening. Thank you for inviting me for the show, and my warm greetings to distinguished co-panelist Mr. Shoaib Chaudhary. As regards the question, it has got multiple parts. The first part, as I understand, does Bangladesh have an enemy which warrants or which merits a pact of this nature? The simple answer is no. So why is Bangladesh talking to the idea of going in for this? Is it Bangladesh leadership which is really applying and coming out with these maverick kind of ideas, or there is somebody hidden behind, and there is a hidden objective and paradigm to compelling the leadership of Bangladesh? I think the second part is very, very important to be looked at. It is not Bangladesh alone today, because what has transpired between 5th of August 2024 till date is something very, very notable in relation to geopolitics, geoeconomics, geosecurity, geostrategy. Bangladesh is no longer a small, tiny country liberated in 1971 by virtue of its geographic location, with enjoying border with 5 states, provinces of India. It's almost around 4,096 kilometers. All the 3 cardinal directions are covered with India. And there is only one side, that is the eastern and southeast, is towards the Bay of Bengal. That has to be understood. Geography plays a very important role. Also, geography must give a reminder to the leadership of Bangladesh. Prisoner of Geography was written by a very eminent author, Tim Marshall, if I respect my memory. And that book conveys a lot. You can do any dramatics, any rhetoric, any kind of alliances, pacts, and agreements, but you can't divorce from the geography. Your neighbor will be neighbor. Any kind of gimmicks they try will ultimately, sooner or later, turn out to be counterproductive, and it will actually start slapping. Goes the old saying, when Hillary Clinton came on a visit to Pakistan in 2013, she had told the leadership, you don't ever think that the snakes that you are actually nurturing in your courtyard or backyard will continue to bite only your neighbor. The time will come when the same people will start biting you. So here the spectrum is to be seen from the perspective of its geostrategic importance. It's no longer what it is to be. Second thing is that China has made very deep penetration. When you are talking about geopolitics, there is a geostrategic rivalry going on, better late than never. USA has woken up and to the status that it is a declining power, and therefore they have to start pushing back the contenders, the rival parties, that is China. And it has to start gaining foothold and toehold in those locations where it had had no presence. Because the Thucydide doctrine says that no accomplished power will ever allow any rising power to come up to its footing. What is China to USA? India is to China, and India also is to USA. USA Deputy Secretary came and said in the Raisina dialogue a couple of months back in New Delhi that they won't commit the mistake again. What to the mistake?
Of course, that is one aspect of it, because over there, that gentleman over there said that they think that they would be making another China if they share technology with India, going with the economic integration or coupling of these economies. It would be in that direction. But here, these 3 countries, Turkey, which is in the southern part of Europe, bordering Asia. You have a very prominent Muslim nation, Sunni Muslim nation. You have Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, South Asian with nuclear weapons. These three countries, technically speaking, are part of very important geopolitical locations. But over here, the big question is in this Mecca Pact is that it's modeled on that NATO Article 5, whether an attack on one will be an attack on all. Won't Bangladesh, if there is a situation that emerges with these three countries, be dragged into a conflict which is not in its interest, maybe far off from its shores, and probably potentially go ahead and drain its resources as well? What do you think about it, Major General?
Okay, excellent question. Now we need to ask as to what made Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey come together to form an alliance. Actually, you need to look back in time, very quick reflections, that it has been quite some time that Saudi Arabia has been harping and requesting USA to give them a kind of assurance as a security guarantor, something on the lines of Clause 5 NATO, although being a non-NATO member, some kind of assurance. What happened? In 2019, the Aramco oil field was attacked, and it impacted by reducing the output of oil by 500,000 barrels. That time the price of barrel had gone up to 87, 89, $90. That was the impact globally. So thereafter, soon after that, what happened? Very notable. These are all turning points. Qatar, the delegation, Palestinian delegation in Qatar in 2025 was attacked despite being a US ally. Israel did not inform USA when it attacked. So that was a very, very relevant call that Saudi Arabia prince had to take. In between, what had happened in 2023, in public domain, the Crown Prince had requested USA, please kindly assure us for some kind of a NATO-like security guarantee. USA politely, either they kept silent or they were blatant and very, very blunt to say, sorry, we can't do it. What happened? What was the question? The question was, despite presence of USA security available in 2019, they still managed to penetrate and hit the oil refinery. Despite they being present even today, in the month of August, 4th August, 6th August, 9th August, 12th August, 5 times the Houthis and others have attacked the Aramco, as also Xinjiang. There is a place in that Aramco oil field, and they have been attacked. So now they are pondering as to what, is there a requirement to go in for a second layer of assured security? The second, the best that comes to the mind of the Crown Prince is something is better than nothing. Pakistan has been operating with them, providing some kind of a prophylactic security since past 25, 30 years in small manner. These days, after the Mutual Defence Act has been signed last year in September, they have started providing to the tune of 8 to 9,000 troops on ground, artillery guns. I'm told by reliable sources, even missiles.
Basically, army for hire.
Yeah, sir, I'll just quickly, wrap up the issue. The issue here is that all three of them are fearing what after Iran? Are they likely to be targeted by Israel? That is the biggest fear. And the birds of same feather will flock together. And since Turkey and Qatar are already established their presence in Bangladesh, Hamas is there, Hezbollah is there, ISIS is there, Al-Qaeda is there. Who's not there? You have Jaish-e-Mohammed, you have Lashkar-e-Toiba, you have Jamaati into the public domain, into the election domain and the field. So all these things are making Bangladesh a kind of a bowl, a cauldron of, it has made it an epicenter of a super epicenter of terrorism in the world. What used to exist earlier in Pakistan and Afghanistan, India should be very, very careful, even if it means nothing, but still I would say once bitten, twice shy. Prepare and prevent, repair and repent.
Right.
Unless you prepare, same Bangladesh will start becoming like Pakistan, and that start, influencing, radicalizing, attacking people from the eastern flank and make our country unstable and untenable. Therefore, India has to prepare in a big manner, think through and go out to look at the issue from a short term, medium term, long term, at a strategic level, intermediate level and tactical level, and go in for a kind of a enduring kind of a counter strategy so that we can meet and address these kind of challenges emerging from Bangladesh.
Well, Salahuddin is back with us. Salahuddin, do you worry that Bangladesh is going to be pulled into certain conflicts that it has to take part because of its compulsions that this particular pact might bring? And technically, Bangladeshi soldiers sent to foreign lands to die for causes that is not theirs, and at the same time draining your country's resources. Do you fear that kind of a situation emerging?
Mr. Abraham, with your kind permission, I would like to bring here 3 points only. If you have seen that Pakistan, they're negotiating that matter along with the army chief, Asim Munir. But when Bangladesh, the question of sending our armed forces to a foreign land to die for a foreign country, Bangladesh army chief is not consulted, or at least knows he is not involved into this process. This is number one. Number two, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and Turkey, they have been historically anti-Semite nations. I mean, they have been Israel haters, in other words. So that made Iran very happy. Even Saudi Arabia very happy. And now, after joining this Mecca Pact, Bangladesh will make Iran very angry in particular. And as the Honorable Major General Sudhakarji was mentioning, that there is Hamas already inside Bangladesh. So now Iran will use its proxies against Bangladesh. So by joining this pact, number one, Bangladesh is going to invite enmity of Iran, of Houthis, and many other elements. And I'm afraid that my country will witness series of terrorist activities and attacks in this country, not only by Al-Qaeda, not only by Lashkar-e-Tayyiba and Pakistani elements. There will be now attacks by the Iranian proxies, and Bangladesh is heading towards a definite devastating fate.
All right. General Sudhakarji, one crucial aspect when we look at this particular pact as such, is it powerful enough, or is it just symbolic? Because over here, as I was saying, each country has its own issues. Now, the Mecca countries, pact countries, of course, these three having the same kind of an article like NATO, and then, of course, the Article 5 of NATO being applicable for Turkey also, who is a part of it, or rather a fringe part of it right now because of how it has been thrown out of the F-35 program and issues of trust that's there between NATO and Turkey as well. But nevertheless, they are part of that NATO pact. So there's already a defense shield that most of these countries have. So is this pact a workable pact? Is it just a symbolic pact? What is the actual message it's trying to give to the Islamic world at large?
The message that this pact or alliance is trying to give is that the Sunni Muslim countries are coming together, and it is basically a defensive architecture for protection against attack coming from Iran and Israel. This is the simplistic expression, but allow me to dilate one very important issue. That important issue is that the elephant in the room is China. Without China's tacit concurrence and a nod, nothing of this kind can actually go ahead. Talk about Pakistan. Pakistan is a vassal state of China. Talk about Saudi Arabia. China has invested good about $65 billion in Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia's Aramco oil field refinery is established in China, in Shanghai. So similarly, you talk about Turkey. Whether we agree or not, Turkey and USA are not seeing eye to eye. Nor does Turkey see eye to eye with Israel. So they are different. So what I'm trying to bring out is, why is Turkey doing what it is doing? Turkey is all out, despite the economic challenges that the country is going through. It is a contestation for the Ummah. Pakistan people have been saying in the media, earlier there used to be 4 apex organizations of the countries. One is Turkey, second is Saudi Arabia, and the third is Iran. These are the 3 countries who have been contesting against each other for a supreme status of Islamic world. But now Pakistan people have been calling Pakistan, just because it has got nuclear weapon and the strongest armed force doesn't mean that it is capable. So therefore, the summary of what I am saying is that it is good. It is one thing to actually make a pact and alliance. It is another thing to actually implement. Look back to NATO. NATO is the largest military alliance in the world. It came into existence in sometime October, November 1949. the 12 founding members. They took good about 30, 40 years to create structures, identify as to what is the requirement, communication network. Then they had to have the appointments, the leadership in the ladder. They had a common budget, common fund. The fund has to be pulled in. And similarly, they used to have command, control, communication, coordination, interoperability, joint exercises, and it has taken them 30 to 40 years to realize that structure.
Right.
Despite that, you know the failures, what happened. For the first time they got deployed was the global war against terror. That is for 20 years in Middle East. And what happened? They couldn't find Osama bin Laden where they're hunting for. They found him somewhere else in Pakistan. That is the effectiveness of NATO. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
It is one thing to say that an alliance is forming. It is another thing to be effective. Do they have the structures? No. Do they have funds? No. Do they have weapons? No. Tell me another.
Right now, they have only a paper on which all the three have signed.
Yeah. If let's say Saudi Arabia is attacked, does it mean Pakistan will attack Iran? The simple answer is no. Pakistan's survival for energy security today is by smuggled oil
From Iran.
From Iran. If Turkey is attacked, Turkey, that is a NATO country, okay, under the present circumstances, will NATO forces come to the rescue of Turkey? I have big question in my mind. NATO itself is collapsing. It is breaking down. There is lack of coordination. There is lack of convergence in NATO. America is that side of Atlantic. They have already raised hands. They said you increase your defense budget and be self-dependent. NATO itself is a big question mark. Look at Ukraine. They can't even support Ukraine in a full-fledged manner. So therefore, this architecture will cause a kind of a psychological imbalance leading to psychological paralysis. But everything starts with psychological imbalance. In today's world, in 21st century, it is always better. Prevention is better than cure. Don't wait for the snake to come and bite you. You anticipate. Where is it coming and be prepared. That's why I'm saying prepare and
prepare
and prevent, repair and repent.
Right, General, we have, thank you, Major General, as well as Salahuddin. That's all the time that we have right now. Wish we had some more time to, in fact, get that point across as well. But with that, we have to, in fact, move to another very important story that's happening and coming in from Nepal. This is not just a flood story. It is a Himalayan disaster with a China angle, a border angle, and a massive rescue crisis unfolding in real time. A wall of water has ripped through Nepal after a sudden surge entered the Botekoshi River system from the Tibet side. At least 22 people are now reportedly dead, while hundreds remain missing. Among those unaccounted for